Welcome to our DM deep dive here tonight with the one, the only, Elisa Teague. We're just delighted to have Elisa Teague here with us again, and we'll be talking about a couple of things today. One of which, of course, is the newly released and recently sold out Chronicle Mode at Spring 2026. The double round Chronicle Mode sold out immediately. Incredible. So, Elisa Teague.
Yes.
It's an absolute pleasure having you here with us today, and I'm just excited to find out what's it been like the last 2 weeks here since we're at the Mohican Castle. We're currently running D&D in a castle. You did one round already, said goodbye to those guests. What's it like to be here for the second round?
It's really great. My campaign last week went so incredibly well. I had an amazing group of players, as always. They got through my storyline in different ways than I planned, which typically happens, and it ended up with a very sweet epilogue as a final ending. And I think that the epilogue and the way that everything wraps up really signifies a campaign. And I don't know, I love it when my players get so far into it that they really care and are so attached to their characters and to the other characters as well, where those emotions come out, and one of my players did end up purposefully failing the final death saves of their character so that they could fulfill their dream of becoming one with Odin. It was a Norse themed campaign, and become a true hero and join the Hall of Heroes and become a Valkyrie, which then played into the other character storylines very beautifully.
Right.
And it was awesome. And now I have a new group of players who are also playing in a Norse themed campaign, but a different story, because I always write a new story for all of my players.
Right.
So
Always
every table is a different story. And this group of players, they just set up a very nasty thing for me today.
Really?
We ended, this is day one. We ended mid-combat after they had set up their first round of shenanigans.
Right.
And I'm nicknaming what they did the Rube Goldberg of murder for my monsters, where these were the best planners. I think I always have some really clever things that happen. But tactically, for combat, I think this is the best plan I have ever had a group of players do.
So tell us a little bit about this. So they set it up chain after chain after chain to just knock out the enemies one by one?
Yes. The ranger came in with her 4,000 ball bearings and placed them throughout the field in strategic places so that each one of the casters could unleash a different spell that would funnel basically the ogre mob that I have that has taken over the village and is taken up residence in the war chief's hall. And they're basically funneling them through the front door, through this pathway of, I can't get out of it, until finally it ends up through all of these traps that they have set up and all of these spells into what they are calling the crucible, which is a wall of fire with the fire on the inside in a circular tube.
Right.
But that they cannot get out of it, taking 5d8 damage each round. And it's just basically, whoops, there goes another ogre. Whoops, there goes another ogre.
And they walk in one by one, marching in?
Well, they can't help it. They cannot go in any other direction because of all of the other things that have been set up.
Right.
And it's just basically brilliant. Chef's kiss. So I love shenanigans. And whenever I'm a player in a game, I'm always the one that is trying to break everything and do weird things like that. This is why I'm not allowed to play in so many of the other DM's games anymore.
You want to find that linchpin and just go yoink.
Exactly. And so when my players do it to me, I love it. So we're having a great time.
That's wonderful. So this is the group that's only been here now for basically 24 hours at this point.
Yes, this was day one.
So within that frame of mind, or rather frame of time, they've found a way to cohesively develop such an intricate working together with their party.
In combat, yes, they are still way
Mm-hmm.
too precious about their inner secrets.
Yeah.
They're not quite trusting enough to share the clues for the actual storyline narrative
Mhm.
quite yet. But they're in game.
Yeah.
They've also only known each other for 24 hours.
Right.
So,
Right.
that's fair. I think that, you don't just blab out your entire life story to fresh new people in your lives.
Well, no.
I mean, some people do.
Some do. I think I've been there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think they're going to have to tomorrow, or else they
Mhm.
may not succeed. We shall see. So
Right.
yeah.
We shall see indeed.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Fun
So
times.
they're coalescing well,
Mhm.
and you clearly have a lot in store for them. And tell us a little dungeon master insight into
Mhm.
preparing for this type of situation where not only are you jumping in intensely into the game, into the campaign, but you don't have much time in between sessions and you don't have much time in between days in order to prepare and to reinvigorate the storyline with what discoveries have been made
Mhm.
the day before. How do you handle that from a dungeon master seat?
Well, I over prepare,
Okay.
as most people here know.
I think I could tell just by the number of suitcases you bring.
It's true.
in
It's
fact.
very true. So I like to run a more open world game. That's just
Mhm.
my style.
Mhm.
It's the way I grew up playing, and I just like it. I'm not. I understand if you're sitting down for a 4-hour one shot, there's
Mhm.
there's a little bit of railroading that has to be done.
Yeah.
But I don't really like it, especially if I'm trying to give the feeling of a real full campaign, which is what we give here
Right.
at the castle. It may be truncated into a certain number of real world days.
Right.
But what we provide in a game, in a campaign here, really in a normal game, sometimes would take months
Yeah.
for, especially the way that people schedule their games nowadays. And so I want to give them that actual feel and have them have great choices and feel
Mhm.
like they are telling the story. I am just facilitating the story.
Mhm.
So what I always tell my players is, and this is in my session 0, is I have something that is happening in this world.
Right.
It could be a world-ending event. It could be a local trouble. Whatever it is that we are playing for this campaign, something is happening. You can choose to engage with it
Mhm.
or not.
Right.
But it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
And you can go anywhere you want. I'm
Mhm.
going to lay out a bunch of different clues, and you can probably get about 70-ish, 75% of the information that I have available to you in the amount of time that we have.
Right.
And so they may not go to a location that I've planned, that I have a huge terrain build for.
Mhm.
They may never go there, and that's okay because they're going to get different information somewhere else.
Right.
And through their clever clue gathering and investigation and role playing,
Mhm.
they're going to get what they get to solve the mystery or save the world or whatever it is this time.
Right.
On this week's, Elisa Teague's game, this happens, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
so if they don't do something that I was planning, it's okay because I have so many iterations of backup plans where they could get different information.
Mhm.
But I love when I don't expect them to do something and they do something that I'm not expecting, right?
Right. Right. Right.
It gives me a challenge.
Mhm. How do you
Yes,
incorporate
we
it?
don't have a whole lot of time to reorient if they do something game breaking, but I don't have a lot of that because there's so much information to be had.
Right.
But yes, over preparedness, everybody. Drag along a million suitcases with you. 37 suitcases.
37 suitcases. Exactly. 37.
37. Always 37.
Always. Wow. So, having done as many D&D in a castle events as you have, you would have seen quite the variety of different play styles.
Mhm.
And you will also have, I would imagine, and I think you've stated this to me before, several of the dungeon masters that also join you here at the castle become quite close friends.
Yes.
And so, with that, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, what's your take on the feeling of the community of people that come to D&D in a castle?
I think I know I've said it before. I do feel, especially this castle, the
Mhm.
summer castle here at Landal's
Yeah.
Mohican Castle. I do think that it is a lot like summer camp in the way of
Mhm.
or family reunion or whatever you want to call it. I've watched since the very first castle in France,
Yeah.
and we have players here this session that were in that very first castle.
Right, we do.
Yes.
I won't say by name, but I know who you're talking about.
and it's one of those things where people come back and they don't see each other all year, perhaps.
Right.
And this is a place where they can have a reunion with their friends and
Mhm.
and play gaming. And even if they're not at the same table, everybody either gathers at the tavern or in whatever the gathering space is for that particular castle after the games. And we tell stories about our games and we hang out and play other like one shots or sometimes card games and board games and
Mhm.
just have fun with our friends. And
Right.
it is such a tight knit community. And I
Mhm.
will say, I have absolutely made friends with the other DMs that we are so incredibly close now, especially over the years. We're basically spending weeks and weeks of time
Mhm.
together.
Mhm.
If you add up the 37,000 castles that I've been to,
Yes, exactly.
I spend, I think, more time at D&D in a castle locations than any other place aside from my own home, and it might even be rightfully my own home at this time. Because of course I
You do
travel
a lot
other
of other
places,
travel, yeah.
so I'm just not home a lot.
Mhm.
But we spend a lot of time together, and then also the players.
Yeah.
And so there are a couple other players here that have been in my past games,
Mhm.
and second we saw each other, it was just big hugs and
Yeah.
what's been going on in the last couple of months. And
Mhm.
then they tell me about their game that they're playing in now
Yeah.
and get my advice on how to,
How to break the game
how
there.
to break the game for the other DM. And the GM Tim and I have a little rivalry going this session where he gave one of my players Timspiration
Okay.
in order to sabotage my game and give me disadvantage whenever that player chose.
Mhm.
And so in response, I gave one of his players a free common magic item. And
Very common.
very common. It was a travel mug of Cafe de Jubilee coffee.
Ooh.
You can find the Cafe de Jubilee on every street corner all over in any major city in
Of
Faerun.
course.
And even in the smaller towns, there's
Mhm.
at least one.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
coffee,
boutique
people need their
Cafe de
coffee.
Jubilee.
And so, yes, we'll see what his retaliation will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, it's a fun time. We all interact with each other. It's great.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. In fact, so here we are sitting in one of the offices here at the Mohican Castle,
Mhm.
and we have a nice panoramic view, and we watched as a party of fairy hunters
Yes.
just went by.
Waving.
One of our activities here at this Mohican Castle is the fairy hunt, in which the adventurers go forth and find the lost key of Princess Sierra, who needs to get her sleep.
Of course.
And is locked out of her home. And
We all need to get our sleep right now.
Well, that's a good point. It's the energy of the castle really does seem to bring out a sense of wanting to soak up every moment. And almost like actually quite exactly like you said with that summer camp feel,
Mhm.
you just don't want to let it go. You don't want to let each day go.
It just goes by so fast.
Mhm.
And so when everybody's hanging out, you want to hang out too.
Mhm.
And it gets the better of some of us, but that's okay. I get energy from it.
Yeah.
So even though, yes, I know that I'm pushing forward, we're running at least 8 hours of D&D
Mhm.
per day.
Yeah.
I still, I know that I'm tired.
Yeah.
But I want to go back out and have more fun and play in a one shot. And who
Exactly.
knows, stay up until you only have one time to do this.
Right.
And I've learned a lot in my many years on this planet, and I really feel like you just need to do all the fun things.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most fun things I can think of.
Right. And a lot of people do see the adventure and they see that that's quite the choice to go off to a castle, play D&D for 4 days straight. And some people that's a dream come true, but it feels too much like a dream, like it's too far away. And what do you think about how would you encourage or suggest somebody think about it to, like you said, seize the moment?
I think it's very important. I think that everybody should travel.
Yeah.
First of all, I think that everybody should have a great hobby. You can, there's all these sayings that I could pull out, but really nobody ever talks about all of the boring things that they did all over the course of their lives. They talk about the exciting adventures that they had. And the greatest thing about D&D in a castle, I always say the greatest thing about D&D Castle, and then I always have a new sentence after it because it is just, there's so many great things.
Each time.
But this time, the greatest thing about D&D in a castle is that you are having an amazing adventure at the table in your game, and
Yeah.
then when that game is over for the day,
Mhm.
you're continuing to have a great adventure in your real life.
Right.
And so
Right.
you get
Mm.
both of those things. You get the best of both of those worlds. And I would say that as far as the attainability, the travel
Mhm.
and getting to the castle, now we have the U.S. castle for people that may not want to travel overseas
Right.
and do that whole thing. And this is a lot more accessible
Mhm.
for a lot of people that live in the States. And
Yeah.
then for people that live outside of the States, they're able to go to the other castles. And,
Yeah.
we have the D&D weekends and everything
Right.
else. So there are a
Actually,
lot of choices,
that's exactly right. And I was about to say that you mentioned, of course, the States and the UK, which are our two locations for our castle events, two countries. We
Mhm.
just launched, and for sale is our first Canadian
Oh, we're
D&D
talking about that now. I
Weekends
found
event.
out about that. I was like, oh, I wonder if it's public or not.
It is
So,
public,
great.
yes. Yeah, and there's still some seats left.
Mhm.
So if you are Canadian and you're looking for something that's a little closer to home, especially if you're in the Toronto area, we have a D&D weekends with Jason Azevedo that will be taking place at a beautiful cabin, country cottage, just out in Hamilton, Ontario. So that's an
Awesome.
option for you, which is different than D&D in a Castle in a couple of significant ways. And I don't think we've yet had you
Not yet.
do it.
I am going to do one.
You are.
I just need to figure out the timing. So you heard it here first. No, I am going to do one. I've been asked a few times,
Yes.
and thank you for that, everybody.
Mhm, yeah.
But it's just I need to work it into my schedule.
Yeah.
I always say these books don't write themselves, right? I do have a lot of work at home, but I do want to do it. I've heard nothing but
Mm.
amazing things from both players and DMs that have
Mhm.
come back from it. So I do want to do it.
Oh, that's fantastic. So just to be clear, D&D Weekends is a 1 day shorter, meant to be over the weekend specifically, experience where you do an intense 20 hours worth of campaign. You arrive on the Thursday night, you immediately go to your host location, you eat and get into gaming that night. All of Friday, all of Saturday is gaming again. And then Sunday, you end up, as usual, with the teary goodbyes and you make your way home in time for Monday morning, assuming you're trying to get there for maybe the writing, as you suggested.
Right. I'm going to work it out. I really want to.
Yeah.
I definitely do.
Fantastic.
I just now need to figure out how to make my campaign fit in a short amount of time. I'm going to squeeze it.
How?
How? I'll do it.
Well, so speaking of writing, though, you brought to mind very well to me. I'm intrigued to know how being at D&D in a castle and having these adventurous opportunities, as you suggested, how that affects your approach to, or maybe gives you some inspiration for the writings that you do. If I'm
All the
not begging
time.
the question.
Yeah, no, all the time. In fact, just overhearing things that my players say, even if it doesn't apply and they scrap their plans, it always gets my brain working about, what if I wrote an encounter that would play on something like that? So they give me, I think, just as much inspiration and ideas and then I give them to take home to their games. And I am complimented that way a lot, where I will get a message on social media of, oh, I did the thing you did to me, to my players. I'm like, yes, one of us. But they do the same thing for me. And I think every single game that I run, I learn a new thing, right? I learn of a different, you brought up player style. Every player has their own little quirk, their own little thing they like to do. And I take all of those little tidbits with me and incorporate into the next thing.
Take that one, store it for later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. So then, speaking of future things, so we talked about here at the Mohegan Castle, we talked about D&D weekends. Now, I do want to hear some more about, even though there are no tickets left, I want to hear more about the recently announced Spring 2026 campaign, Sigils in the Sand. Sands, sorry. Sands plural. Yes. Would you tell us a little bit about the inspiration for that campaign? And
I will tell you a very little bit.
Just a little bit. Even though it's the Chronicle Mode campaign, the longest of campaigns, we just get a little bit of information.
Well, here's the thing. Again, I do write my stories specifically for my tables.
Of course, yes.
And so my process is a little bit different than I think some of the other DMs in that way, where I do wait until I have my players' backstories and so I need to know who they are and then communicate with them.
Yeah.
And I take months and I write the story.
Right.
So because I know the setting,
Right.
I have a general idea of something I'd like to have as my overarching event, but
Mm-hmm.
that may all change once I receive the descriptions from my players of what their characters are, what they do, because it's not just that I have like, oh, a hook here and there for them. I really weave everything together and I make whatever the problem is their problem.
Right.
And
Right.
so that way they really are engaged. They really feel what is happening there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I will talk about the setting for sure because
Right.
I'm really excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
I am playing in Kalimshan,
Right.
which, is a new, well, it is a very old setting in Faerun, and it has not really been touched in decades
Right.
by any writing team formally.
Okay.
But Wizards of the Coast is releasing a product at the end of the year that will be releasing brand new setting information for 5e,
Right.
or for D&D. Now it's just called D&D now.
Just D&D.
Just D&D. But with all of the new rules, the 2024 rules and everything else built in, and that will be part of a larger release. And I'm running that setting not only for the Chronicle mode, but also for fall.
For the fall as well, right?
Every story is going to take place there. Every campaign that I'm doing is going to take place there, but a completely different story each time. So I would love to answer your question, but we're just going to have to find out once I get those player backstories.
Yeah. Well, I know that's something that the players that play at your table delight in, that you do craft the story around the characters that you're provided and how you work with them to create such a unique and wonderful campaign. And in fact, I know this not just because I've heard it from people here and there as they spout to me what they've experienced at your table and how you really found that hook, dug into their emotional center, and tugged just enough that all the tears started coming out.
It does happen.
It does. But also because when you were announced for this campaign, we had a myriad of people that reached out to us trying to see how they could be at that table. And in fact, more people reached out than there were tickets for that table, and they were all ready to buy immediately at the release. So that's just, I guess, a testament to the wonderful stories that you create and the reputation you've built.
It's very flattering. I'm not going to name any names, but I did talk to somebody at the castle this past spring who literally cornered me and said, how do I get on your table? It's harder to get a seat at your table than buying concert tickets. Yeah. And I will never forget that line. And I'm like, you just need to sit and push the button like you do refresh. Yeah. I don't know. It is very flattering. It's also a little embarrassing because like, oh, I don't want to, but it is very nice to hear that so many people want to play with me. And I will just say that keep asking, and maybe I'll come back again and you can get at my table the next time.
Yeah, and that's just it. My recommendation from the inside as well of D&D in a Castle operations is ask the question. Ask it to us, reach out to us, and we'll do our best to make your dreams come true. And many people we know dream of playing at the table that you run because of, again, that reputation that you built.
I know I'm blushing so hard right now. So thank you.
There. Okay, so the one thing I want to also follow up on is, what do you think Chronicle Mode will offer as a structure that you haven't experienced in those single round campaigns? So just, again, a little bit of clarity. Chronicle Mode is 2 rounds back to back, meaning you have not just 4 days of gaming, but 8 days of gaming. And there is 1 rest day in between with the dates for the spring of 2026. So that's from April 21st all the way through to April 30th that you'll be running the Chronicle Mode Saga, Sigils in the Sands.
Yes. So I have a few tricks up my sleeve. Again, I'm so scared. I know they're watching. That's the thing. Like, I know my players are watching and trying to get everything they can. They do. They really do. But I am changing things up a little bit. Just, of course, it's still going to be my normal style puzzles in the terrain. We didn't talk about like the huge amount of terrain that I'm going to have for this game, which is beautiful and I'm so excited.
Please tell us.
I do play in a home game
Mhm.
that we've been using this terrain for
Mhm.
quite some time,
Mhm.
and I'm bringing it all to the castle.
Right.
And so I will be using it for all of my games, but I'm also leaving it in our DM resource library, so
Mhm.
other DMs will be able to use it as well.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. And so what I do is a lot of part of my style that people do like is that I incorporate puzzles and hidden information in the terrain itself that people would completely overlook if they weren't really specifically looking for it.
Right. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
if they have the hints and the clues that I give them, they will find those things. Even if it's, not to give anything away, but like counting the number of apples in each barrel, if they are told in another way to do that.
Mhm.
There is hidden information everywhere.
Right
And so
there,
yeah,
in front of them.
so Chronicle Mode is going to take it up like 3 more notches because not only do I have more time to play with,
Mhm.
but I also have time to play with.
Ah.
And that's the only hint I'm going to give.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Chronological.
Chronological Chronicle Mode. No.
Chronological mode? No. Chronergical mode? What
Well,
would
here's
it
the
be?
thing. I have a lot of inspiration from a setting that I play in quite
Mm,
often called Imaria that
yeah.
has chronomancy in it, and so I may be borrowing a couple things here and there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's pretty. It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
Now I've given away
You too much.
way too
Too
much.
much.
It's
Okay.
okay. No, I'm changing it all. No, no, it's gonna be great.
That's fantastic. And this one happens to take place in a newer castle venue for us.
Yes,
One that I don't think you've had the chance to visit.
it's the only one I haven't been to.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then when you're there, or rather, as you anticipate going there, are you excited for certain elements, such as are you maybe hoping to connect with some spirits in the new castle?
I would love to.
Hmm.
I will go on those walks at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
If anybody sees me walking around, I'm not being weird. I'm really looking for whatever the rumored ghosts are.
Yeah.
Also, I can't sleep and I'm probably thinking about my game. But if I find some of those spirits, I didn't know that
Mhm.
this one was also haunted.
Well, I think it's pretty hard to find a 12th century building that wouldn't have some sort of haunting.
That's probably true.
But I think we'll discover that on arrivals.
I am looking forward to it. I will also say that I intend to adopt and find a Newcastle cat, and I will be depositing it at the castle. It's just a joke, but yes,
we do know that you've developed a very strong bond with
very.
the cat at our most frequent venue,
It's
which
true.
is also very nearby our new venue.
I
So
know. Don't think
uh,
I'm not going to go visit just to say hi to
just to say
Poppet.
hi to Poppet, yes.
But yeah, no, I'm really looking for. I heard it's fabulous.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
new place.
And in fact, we're getting little tidbits of information about it because while it's a new castle for Chronicle Mode in the spring and new for the new year, the trial run, the very first round that we are going to be
Hmm.
at that castle, is happening in just 4 or 5 days from now. It starts up, so there'll be a whole bunch of new imagery that comes out from that castle, and that'll get all of our appetites nicely teased for going to their
I basically want to
castle
go
in the
to
spring.
every single castle.
Yes.
So this is just another check on the list of all the castles that I can go to in general. So
Wonderful. Okay, we are actually getting pretty close to running out of time. So I want to touch base on just a couple quick questions that we can hit you with and get your quick responses to. So, what class and species combo is your favorite?
here we go with the favorites again. Wow, I don't know. I will say right now I've had 2 players in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So last week and this week,
Mm-hmm.
playing the new Path of the World Tree barbarian as a Goliath,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the things that you can do, the combos that can come out of that are really cool. Each player has played their character quite differently.
Yeah.
But the combinations of things that you can do, I'm really loving. And
Mm.
so I've been trying to work my way through all of the new 2024 versions of everything and
Mhm.
really learn. I will say that just in general, I have a great character that I love so much.
Mhm.
And she's also a Ghostwise halfling.
Ah.
I know I played a Ghostwise halfling in our little improv show
Oh,
that
right.
we had.
Yes. Oh, so this isn't Horseshoe.
No, this is not Hoshek. This is somebody else. And she is based on the Russian fighters in World War II that would, the women that would climb up on the biplanes, and they would shut the motors off in the dead of night and then shoot from above in stealth.
Right.
So
Yeah,
she is a Ghostwise halfling
Mhm.
that rides around on an owl. She's a ranger, and she rides around on an owl with her crossbow expert, and stealthily in the dead of night goes and does what needs to be done.
Yes.
Her name is Fennec Nachtext, based off of the word for those fighters, the night witches.
Yeah.
And
Text.
yeah,
Yeah.
the night witches. And she is, it's a really cool combination. So
I'm excited to maybe take the stage with Fennec as well.
yeah, probably. She's not quite as entertaining as Koshek, because Koshek is just a murderer.
Right, yes.
A deadpan murderer.
I may have experienced that.
Look, she was just trying to help you out.
I feel like you did do a good job of holding back that murderous intent from the stage.
I was judging by the audience on what they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
I didn't kill you.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have one more question, and then we'll get you to take us out. But my question is there a moment that comes to mind from D&D in a Castle where you realized this is why I do this?
It's all of them.
Yeah.
I know that's a cheesy answer, but I don't want to get sappy. I feel like I get sappy in all of these all the time. But I really just love it. When I see everybody's interactions with each other, it really reminds me of how I relate to playing role-playing games in general, especially D&D. It has a very big place in my heart. It is part of every aspect of my life, from family to my closest friends in the world. I've been playing forever with the same group of people forever. I have so many close bonds, old and new, because of it, and my career, where I write for RPGs, I design games, and when I see other people here playing and forming those new bonds and playing and making new discoveries and having those aha moments in the games, it's all of it.
Right.
And I know that, I'm cheesing out the answer, but it really is all of it. It all makes it worth it. This is exactly why. The world is not always the greatest, and this gives people a chance to escape everything that's happening in real life, and it's bringing fun and joy and happiness to people, and friendship, and it's everything that I want to do in life. I've never really been a person that I'm like, oh, I need to be the most successful, or have the most money, or have the most glamorous anything. Like, I've never been that person that needs that to be satisfied. What I want is make people happy and bring joy to the world, and I get to do that.
Wow. Right. Thank you for that. And I look forward to that happening again and again.
Me too.
Well beyond the 37,000 castles.
Yeah, 37,001.
And what? And so for the closeout of our time here together, I'm going to invite you to do a direct audience address and invite the people that maybe they're trying to specifically play at your table, or maybe one of the other dungeon masters at D&D in a Castle. Invite them out to join this community and be a part of what's happening here.
You got it. Hello, future players. I would like to personally invite you to come play with me at the lovely and amazing D&D in a Castle. And if you don't manage to snag a seat at my table this next round, perhaps check out one of our amazing other DMs that all are so good at their craft that I want to play at each of their tables. So please come join us and have all of the fun, because seriously, this is all of the fun.
All of the fun.
It is.
Thank you once again for joining us here with this wonderful DM Deep Dive with the one and only Elisa Teague. With that, we say farewell and roll high.
Bye bye.